Good morning to you. Good morning. I finally can talk without coughing, so I'm back. Thank you all for your patience while I got everything squared away here. I have no idea what I've already showed you, so please bear with me. And let's look at some stuff. This is Sandy Wilhelmina, and I am at the farm where I always am, and making sure I'm in frame. You can move it over just a bit. Okay, I'm going to put papers around so I don't forget to stay in frame. That should be good. All right, we are enjoying some weather you might call it cold snap anymore these days. It is about 60 degrees outside at night, 70 ish during the day, and it's perfect weather to be a sheep. Sunny. They have been outside more, and the hot weather, they just don't move around. They stay in the barn. We have an old dairy barn, and the foundation is stone, so they lean up against that, and they stay cool that way. I'm gonna make sure that I turn the camera on. You never know what's going on in my head right now. I wanted to show you a bunch of things and talk about why I get them, and well, you probably know why, but when I see them, what I see that I can do, what I put away, because they're too, to me, precious to take them apart. Or so here we go. First, look at this cutie. It's Prudence, the rickrack braid made. I made that part up. Fast color, made in the USA. It's a pretty yellow that goes with the label. So I decided to show you that. That's just something cute that was in the bottom of one of my auction boxes. Okay, I gotta get my, getting my act together here. I recently picked up a box of old paper, which I'll show you here and there because it was a giant tote full of paper, old paper. I had seen this, and of course Facebook Marketplace, and this one turned out to be local. So once I recovered from my dastardly cold, I went down and met this gal, and she had picked up a bunch of things because she was going to sell it online. She had been selling like small pieces of furniture and all that, and she had been coming across these papers, so she just picked them up. Then she decided it was too much work, which we can all understand that. I saw this in one picture behind some other papers. This is already sold, but it's beautiful, and I knew it was in there, so what I paid for the box is more than made up for itself anyway, but this was definitely one of the stars of the show. It's 1910 Universal Almanac and Catalog of Seeds from D.M. Ferry and Company, Detroit, Michigan. And they had this little cutely little string up here in the corner, so you could hang it up in your kitchen or wherever and order things whenever you wanted to. Check it out. This is their seed warehouse. And I just think the illustrations and the graphics are fantastic in these old things. If you were going to take this apart, which I doubt she will, or if you could scan it and put that baby in a frame. It is just, I just love that. And then it's all black and white. It has the month. It's basic almanac. This person was deciding how much an order would cost and what they needed to order. This would be fun to take apart, but I think it would make you happier to scan it or copy it and use the things that way. So I'm going to skip ahead a little. And this is vegetables. I don't think there are any flower seeds in it. I saw nasturtium, but not. Looks like they had sunflower seeds and stuff. They're just not neat pictures. And in the back, it's the reference tables, and it tells you how many seeds will plant in an acre of ground, number of plants or trees, sorry for the traffic, to the acre at given distances, weights of various things like barley per bushel, etc. And then this has things that they sold by weight, seeds like grasses. And this is foreign names of vegetables and herbs. And it's English, German, French, Danish, Norwegian, Dutch, and Polish. And I'm assuming this is cool, obviously, but I think they might have done that so that if you were buying seeds from a different company, you would know the equivalent and get the right seeds. And then there's the back. Salmons and Bingham Groceries, Fairport, New York. It would be fun to look up that grocery store and see what you could find about it. And like I said, that one is sold, but I wanted to share it. There is so much stuff. It's heavy on books, so I hope you'll stick around. Okay. I'm kind of drifting there. Okay. This old book, it is a comprehensive summary. It's seen some miles, but I'm not sure what the first name is, but it looks like Patel is the last name. And it's the Universal History with Biography of Distinguished Persons. An epitome of heathen mythology. Heathens. It was adapted to use in schools, and they even added in the little piece that corrects mistakes. This was printed in 1845, and it was printed in Philadelphia. And I would part with this, but if it never sells, I'm still okay with that. The paper, you've heard me say that a million times, but this paper, you can feel the text. And I just love books. You can see this. You can see and feel every bit of letters in this. Roman history, English history, French history, general. There are no illustrations, but who needs pictures, right? This is kind of one of those books where you go, la, it came from the heavens. Philosophy, astronomy. Somebody loved this book a lot, and they carried it everywhere. They might have moved or stuff like that. My brain, and I did not write down where I got all these things, but this, I think, came from a winery. You might have already heard this story, but you can skip ahead. There's a winery in a local town, New Glarus, and it was Primrose Winery. And the couple retired, and it closed, and they sold it to a younger couple to continue on. And it's always been a special little, family-owned winery. And now his building's sold. It's a little cute storefront, kind of a block off their square. It's just adorable. I would buy a storefront like that and live upstairs like they did. But his family, this did not come from him. His family collected books he told me, for like 150 years. They've been saving books. They've kind of built their library of their favorites. And then they've gone down to this gentleman, and he has them boxed in some of them boxed up in his winery. And I managed to con him out of some of them. And I brought home 5 boxes of old books, and some of them were modern, and they'll be donated to St. Vinny's, but most of them were very cool. And even if you are only going to keep them for the covers, see if I can find one for you, because I'm not prepared. Sorry while I dig around, everybody. Well, this is what I get for not being prepared. Well, this is an example of one that I really liked, and I will be keeping for someone to use. Oh my gosh, you guys. You should see the mess I have here waiting for videos to catch up. Thank you all for helping me out with that. So just as an example, this was one book in the box, and check that out. I mean, it's embossed. You could cover this if you wanted to. It feels like linen to me, but I really am not sure. Oh my gosh. Please excuse the ink on my fingers. Whoops. So, Merry Christmas. And I'm not going to flip through it, but there are some pretty cool plates, and I could see someone just taking all of this out. 1873, this copy is 1898, 1901. It's really cute paper, so don't discount books that you think you might not use, because if you're like me, you can find a way to use almost anything, because that's the fun part, right? This little book is a ledger book, and I was really surprised when she showed this to me, because I saw this and I thought, oh, I wonder what kind of ledger that is that people got. Was it a store? Was it and all this stuff was running through my brain till I got home. And this is from 1882, and it was kept by Katie A. Murray of Poughkeepsie, New York. And it says, extracts from sermons delivered by Brother Grant. I have not researched this person per se, or there's so much information in here, I could find the church. I might even be able to find them. She's even got an index. And this is sermons from church. I do not know if she was the preacher's wife, and that she was in charge of keeping or helping write his sermons, or if it was his sister or just someone from the congregation. But she spent a lot of time writing down these sermons. And it traveled, because back then the little towns didn't always have a full-time preacher, so they would travel place to place. And I thought maybe meeting minutes, but it's just his sermons written down by hand in this beautiful handwriting. And then you skip through. She had put some leaves between the pages, but they fell apart in the book, so I took them out. I try to leave everything I find in the books with the books. Let's see if I can find the one page I want to show you. So she was doing a lot of secretarying for this fellow. She wrote which church they were at, what time it was, when the sermon was. Where the heck is it? And they used every bit of paper in here, front and back, top to bottom. Here it is. And here we start with pencil. This cracks me up. I don't know who. Make sure you can see all this. There we go. I don't know who Mabel and C.H. Gray are, but it says, trusting in God's help. This is from 1900. I live by solemnly swear to abstain from the use of wine, beer, and cider. But the cider's knocked out, so that must have been okay. And all alcohol drink, witnessed and recognized by C.H. Gray, witness Mabel Gray. So this is not who wrote in this book, but I wonder if Mrs. Gray came to the preacher and said, listen, he's gotta stop drinking. He's just needs to stop. And then the preacher made him sign right here in a blank spot that he promised he wouldn't do it anymore. It's kind of fun. Poor Mabel. It would be fun to find Mabel. So she writes all the way through here. And it's sewn together. These books. And I'm not going to get into religion here, but I believe you do you. And this kind of book, I think, belongs with someone who would appreciate the entire thing. And the writing starts to change about here. And then it says Edith M. Anson. This is there's some pages missing. I'm assuming someone took out this is kind of genealogical reference of a family. Murray's, so it might have been her family, of when they passed away, how old they were. Just kind of a record. You'll find those in Bibles sometime too. And this is a recipe for spiced fruit pickles. I didn't expect that. A hymn by G.B. Look at the aging. And here there is a whole record of cheese, pork, and eggs. How many eggs she sold. And then when her chickens decided to sit on the nest, she had banties, leghorns, and you can read where chicken scratched, haha. And then this is Mrs. Lawrence's account. And it shows how many eggs she bought, how much it cost. And here's where her chickens sat on the box, May 11th, due May 31st. So, you never know what you're going to find. And this is a whole story of a lady's life. I don't see where she married or where her name changed, but I have not read through the entire thing. And that will be for sale. This book was in an auction box, one of my infamous auction boxes, and it's just a standard reference work. Volume 1, encyclopedia. and it's from 1917. Now you might say, what the heck are you going to do with that kind of a book? The pages are, they're matte, but they're a little shiny. And it is just an encyclopedia. However, sorry, I'm probably throwing the camera off. These have beautiful book plates. And if you were going to keep this book together, how cool is that? But I will probably take it apart and save these plates to share. And maybe the book block for, I always feel guilty, but, oh gosh, I can't even think. I'm sorry, my brain is still in park. For a glue book or collage or whatever, and then just keep these to put in journals. There are some beauties in all of these, unless someone, you want to look through these, because if someone got here before you, they may have taken the plates out and just left the book together. Lieutenant Robert E. Peary, 1908, in his suit of furs on the deck of the Roosevelt. I bet he stayed warm. He looks like a Yeti. Let me find some more of the prettier. So you'll find color prints. And this is the Aurora Borealis. This, it says, often observed in Greenland. More aminals. Ring-necked bear, a long-lipped bear. That's a new one on me. And it talks about people, places, and things. Someday I'm going to remember to mark the pages. There's a whole chapter on bookkeeping. I do take those out and keep them together because I love reading about books. You all know I love books. And I cannot lie. So I do keep the bookbinding stuff, and I have a book about bookbinding, books. And I pop all of the stuff about them. There we go. How's that for beautiful? 1915. It says Burbank and his work. So I don't know if that's the artist or what he grew. So anyway, these are awesome books. If you see them, look through them first, make sure all the plates are there. Or if you don't care about that, grab them up. They're excellent paper for anything you're going to do. I'll change up here. I'm not sure if I showed you this in the past. I've had it a while. And let's see, I closed it with just some lace that I thought showed off the black and the white. This is some of that. The little polka dot netting. It has a name. And this is a leather Metropolitan Life Insurance Company. Not best because the biggest, but biggest because the best. And it's all embossed. It's got their building here. Here's the back. And it's a trifle. It opens. This is cool. And it really is in excellent condition. And then, this is where, I have so many different size things today. Okay, we're good. This is where he would have, or someone, this is Jacob Pollock. And it gives his address, so I do plan on looking him up before I sell this. He would have put his business card here. Premium receipts and other of your important and valuable papers. And it has envelopes. It's all envelopes. It even has quotes from presidents in it. And what I've done is these envelopes are going to be full of really cool ephemera. I put some policy books here, old paper, and I'm going to go through and fill it up before I sell it. I've just popped a few things in here. Look at this cutie, a photograph album. I don't know how old this is. I would guess late 1800s, early 1900s. Sorry, a bug just flew into my head. And it's blank. But again, you could do anything with it. You could have your friends leave you notes. So I'll be filling this baby up with a lot of ephemera and photos, and then it will be available for sale. You can contact me if you're interested in it before I get my button gear and put it on the website. I think I just saw somebody show one of these, and these books came out of auction box, and they must have been stored somewhere where at some point there was some moisture involved. I don't know if it was Angela, somebody recently, excuse me, take a drink of the old Diet Coke. Okay, but it's the Art Cyclopedia, the deluxe edition, and it's thousands and thousands of illustrations that you can reproduce. Ooh, there's a skeleton there. Some of these are fun to even look and see what's in them. So these were things that people could use, printers, on their, like printing bill heads and statements, and I'm not going to keep flipping the book around, but look at that. So a person could take these and watercolor. Angela did that on one of her books. And this is matte paper. And it's got a lot of things that they might have needed when they were printing for someone. I love it. So you can also either take this out, or you don't even have to choose which side of the page you want to use. You could make cards, journaling cards. What a pocket that would be. Oh boy, she's not nice. So it's really, really cool. There's some steampunk stuff looking and modern looking, more modern looking. There. Bookkeeping. So even though it's a newer book, pick them up. I probably will be taking things out of this to use because there is so much. That is what I'm really excited to have. That doesn't have a year on it, but I think probably 70s or 80s, maybe 19. Okay. I have 2 sales coming up this week. Angela and Carol's live sale on Thursday, and my sale with Mary on Wednesday. And this will be coming to Angela's sale. Lee Ward's Complete Library of Needlecraft. We lived by a Lee Ward's, and we loved going there with my mom. She did a lot of stitching, cross-stitch, crewel work, and she would go to Lee Ward's because it wasn't far and she could afford to buy things that she needed, thread, anything. And it was an awesome store. I don't see purple and white much. Hazel, purple, purple for Hazel. And it's about knitting, and it is coming away from the binding. Oh boy. Don't go swimming in that suit, lady. Never told you what the date was here. You can probably guess better than me. Complete Library of Needlecraft. I don't see it. All right, well, it is a guess until I get to it. Lots and lots of pictures. Ooh la la. Horse reins. Knitting knobby or spool knitting. Look at the aging on that. Beauteous. I've never seen a book with purple printing. If you ever see these in your travels and they are a reasonable price, grab them up. This is from 1908 and it cost $1 a year. It's the Delineator magazine, and it just has, this has 80 new spring styles, child rescue campaign by the magazine, 15 cents a copy, and all of the things that are, have the, most of them have the artist signature on them. This is a cream of wheat ad. Kind of sad, beating up some wolves. And I cannot tell you how amazing these are. Tons of ads. But check this out. I cannot tell without my microscope who the person is, but I don't think it's a Gibson girl. This style was started by, oh God, his name is Gibson. And lots of people, illustrators, started with the style. What to wear in spring days. Is that not beauteous? A dress from 1862. Oh my goodness, these are drool worthy. So Gibson girls became like a style of drawing women and others, mostly women. Their poor waists, right? So it had fashions and fashions and fashions. This was a tropical suit with silk jacket, 1875, skirt, 1850 without the yoke. So it tells you what they're wearing and when they wore it. So there's a lot of history in these. And these are worth their weight in gold. So if you see them and you can afford them, snatch them up. Because even if you just want to sell them, somebody out there is going to be so glad that you picked these up. I'm probably spending way too much time dressing on dimes. Morning wear that can be made at home at a merely nominal outlay. A little mother to the convict. I am going to sell this. I have a few. I might bring one to Angela's, and I also will have them at my other sale with Mary. But you just can't go wrong with these. And they are pretty pricey, but my goodness, lots of ads telling your troubles to the architect. Singer always has beautiful ads. And if you're not a collector and you do want to take these apart, personally, I don't see where it's wrong, because these sit on shelves and they don't get used. I mean, sure, you take them down and you look at them and you go, ooh ah, ooh ah. The peanut children are almost late again. But then they go back on the shelf or in a drawer and they wait a long time for the next person. And I think, as with all of my stuff, oh, look at the chick. I think that they deserve to be shared. And that's why I like to share my stuff. And I have a huge, huge collection of it, which is kind of embarrassing, but kind of not. And obviously this is not old, but it's a gnome book. I've never had one of these in my hand. And I never thought I would have liked a gnome book. 1976. But I saw one of these, again, I think at Angela's sale a while back. And I thought, boy, why haven't I ever looked at that book? And then I didn't see one for a really long time. And I saw this one at a thrift store, and I said, that one is mine. And you've probably seen these a million times. Oh, there's Gnome Booty. And I will be bringing this to Angela's sale. Relations with animals. So I won't spend a ton of time because you're already going to be here forever with me today. So who knew I would like that? You just never know. That isn't a book I would have paid attention to back in the day. I'm going to go ahead and go through these because I was very surprised when I found this whole big packet of papers, what it was. I'm not finished investigating. This is a whole court file, lawyer's court file, and the person. And it is from Indiana, Elkhart, Indiana. And they were suing the Chicago, South Bend, and Northern Indiana Railway Company, the New York Central, and some people, because they did not want the railroad to buzz through their property. They didn't want to give up their land. They didn't think they had enough money to give up their land, and they were trying to avoid eminent domain. This started in the late 1800s, and this entire file is the lawyer, the court papers, the letters, everything involved in this lawsuit. It went on for years, all the way into the 1940s. Local paper accuses boss of delay. So, clippings in the railroad case. So they kept the newspaper clippings, their printing receipts. This is 1928. This is the law review about it, about the different laws. It's the lawyer doing his research. Telegrams. Forcing foreclosure, drastic action needed to stop them. Please advise. I love how they use the little pins instead of paper clips. So again, it looks like it went into court and it sat in court and sat there. And they took it to the U.S. Congress and just worked so hard to get some help on it, which was not really very forthcoming from the look of it. not sure the date on some of it, but it's just 1928. So I'm not going to go through every single paper, but here's the Supreme Court of the state of Indiana. And I believe this is about foreclosure notice on the mortgage for the, or a loan to pay the lawyer. I think that's what it was. Witnesses. These are all the guy's handwritten notes. Oliver Loomis, attorney. All kinds of different papers. Seats. Just, well, you get the gist. And the city was involved, and they were just determined to beat the railroad. And this happened to people a lot. 1931. I thought I had these in order, but I don't, it seems. I just briefly ran through to make sure I knew what it was. I love all the different kinds of paper. Okay, now here's what I was talking about. Billheads. These are copies of the original, and he has a million of them in here, so I'm assuming this is for a court thing. The bank. Again, if you find things with the company's information and a fancy, those are worth picking up. Is that find? I had no idea when I picked it up that that's what it was. Make sure nothing flies out of there. It's going to be heavy on the books today. I hope that's alright with everyone, but I think I'll do one more, and then I'll call it for this one. Get into another one, or we'll be here till tomorrow. This was the auction find, 1946. It was mimeographed, and it's somebody's, a professor of physical ed from the UW, University of Wisconsin, Margaret H. Doubler. I'm not pronouncing that right, but, and it is all her dissertation. And you can see she typed this whole thing. And this is a mimeograph copy. And while it's not something that I will sit down and read, wouldn't this be great journal pages? So these will be showing up in paper packs. So again, don't discount the things that you come across. Okay, everybody, thank you for watching me this far. And it's going to be heavy on books and why I keep them and what I found. So I hope that works for you, and on to the next. Have a great day. Hope your weekend is fun.